What prevented you from somehow contacting family members or friends for help?
The fact that he said he would kill me or my family if I would leave. And I just, when someone tells you that they will kill you and you haven't seen any action to back that up, you will call that person, they're just bluffing. But when someone beats you to that point that you feel like you're gonna die, and when you witness this person in action, you're gonna take that person for their word. So when he told me, if you ever call the police, and I remember one occasion he said, if you call the police, I can have you call a girl that had called the police, but too bad she can't speak to you right now. And so when he said that to me, in my mind is that he killed a girl that reached out to the police, and that's why she can't speak to me. And with him saying, if you leave me, I will kill you and your family, I summed up that whole situation and say, well, I can't reach out. I would not reach out to the police because I didn't trust the police. Because he told me the police is not my friend. The police will arrest you. The police did arrest me. And I had some other police officers that were buyers. So why would I trust you if you are involved in this criminal enterprise?
Broadcasting from New York City to the world, it's the G-Man Interviews.
Black people and white people are nowhere related. In my opinion, I think black people evolved from animals. And I believe that we need to be separated. Whites and blacks need to be separated. I don't agree with race mixing. Let them set up their own state where they belong and give them their own homeland.
And if your daughter, when she got older, came home and said, I want to go out with a black boy,
I'd disown her. Wouldn't have nothing else to do with her for the rest of my life.
Because of who she loved.
No, it's not love. If you love somebody of your own race.
Who decreed that?
God decreed that. Jesus decreed that.
I thought Jesus said love each other.
Jesus said love your neighbor. But if you read the Bible...
As yourself. There are some people who think that if Barack Obama is reelected, the storm, something they call the storm, is going to come.
Oh, it's going to happen.
What's the storm?
I fear it. War. And he's going to start it. He's going to start it. I fear it. I feel it. I feel it coming on. And it ain't just me. It's just, it's going to be another war in this United States of America. If he gets elected back to office, it's going to happen. If he gets 4 more years, Barack Obama will ruin this country. And white people will be in concentration camps. And if you don't believe white people can't be in concentration camps, people sadly mistaken.
And his solution to avoid this supposed impending storm is an all-white South, where all blacks, Hispanics, and Jews are banned, given someplace else, he says, to live in America.
I want to make sure I understand you. If the goal is white separatism, separating the races, the only way to separate the races is using violence. You're not going to be able to just say nicely, please leave.
If they will peacefully go, then yeah. But if they won't peacefully go, that's the only way is through violence. Is through making them go. That's it.
And you'd be willing to be part of that. It's a race war you're talking about, essentially.
Very much so.
Welcome. That was an excerpt from a 2012 ABC News special report entitled Inside the Ku Klux Klan. The video can be viewed in its entirety on YouTube. The subject of the feature was Imperial Grand Wizard Stephen Howard of the North Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Howard was born June 6, 1981 in New Albany, Mississippi. His father, a Vietnam veteran, was not in his life, and his mother single-handedly raised Stephen and his older brother. On the weekends, while his mother was working, he and his brother would spend quality time with their grandfather. He attended a school in New Albany, which he described as half white, half black. According to Howard, he never really had a problem with race or knew anything about race until he was 9 or 10 years old. And the first time he really knew there was a difference in race was during the O.J. Simpson trial. I remember when he got off for murder. There was a lot of blacks I went to school with that seemed to find this was a wonderful thing, that a black animal had gotten off for murder. And for the most part, whites were upset at the fact that something like this could happen in America. Oh, and I forgot about the Los Angeles riots. I remember watching TV news reports about buildings burning and a man being pulled from a truck and nearly beaten to death, said Howard. These two incidents had a profound impact on him, as he often found himself asking, what is wrong with these animals? It was during this period that he was introduced to a group that some now call the American Taliban, the Ku Klux Klan. Howard recalls, my mother, who was a very racially minded person, loved to rent us movies. But these were not movies that a child of 10, 11, or 12 should have seen. I remember my mother renting Boys in the Hood and saying, see you boys? See how these niggers act? I also remember watching Menace to Society and seeing the Nazis and thinking, I want to be just like them. Warriors for my people. While these films played a significant role in his development as a child, one film that his mother brought home changed his life forever. That film was Mississippi Burning. The movie was loosely based on a 1964 FBI investigation into the murders of civil rights workers James Earl Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schwerner. The men were killed by members of the Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. As he reviewed the film, he asked his mother, who are these men beating the black people? His mother told him it was the Ku Klux Klan. From that day forward, he vowed to become a great Klan leader, and he believes he has accomplished that goal. Imperial Grand Wizard Stephen Howard joins us to discuss race in America, his service to his country as a United States Marine during the Iraq War, and how KKK membership and recruiting efforts have steadily increased since America elected its first black president. I thank you for being here and for your willingness to speak openly on these issues.
Yes, sir.
I want to start with the film Mississippi Burning, which contains some of the most heart-wrenching scenes of violence against black people in the Old South. After all these years, have you been able to determine why you were so attracted to and mesmerized by the Klan depicted in that movie?
Growing up in Mississippi, you always hear about the Klan. You always hear about the way things were back in the 60s and the way things that are still pretty much the same way in the state of Mississippi. And then when you see it for yourself, you can't believe it to see it. And I was just fascinated with it. You know, I've never seen white people, in my terms, white people that were that strong in their belief that they would do them type of things to people because they were that strong and they thought they were right in their beliefs. And that's the reason I was really attracted to it.
Were your parents or members of your extended family supporters of the Klan?
I would say that my mother was, I wouldn't say that she was a supporter of the Klan, but she was a supporter of white supremacy. She was a supporter of separatist beliefs. That was her belief. She was a very strong woman. A lot of my beliefs that I get about my race and my people and blacks, I get it from my mother. So my grandfather was, he fought against the Nazis in Normandy. He lost a leg in Normandy. I wouldn't say he was. I mean, he was born in 1923. He called blacks colored. He'd call them colored to their face. And my mother was very much a racist person. I'll be willing to say that. But the Klan, as far as the Klan is just something. My mother always told me that the Klan is the way we are now. See, my mother frowns upon me because of the way I am now, because my mother doesn't think I should do TV interviews. My mother doesn't think I should do media interviews. She thinks that the Klan needs to be the way it was back in the 60s, secretive and stuff like that. But I don't do them type of things now, because if you don't have anything to hide, why not talk to the media? Why not let people know who you are? And my mother, she doesn't agree with that. But my mother, I say she's a supporter of the 1960s era Klan.
You indicated that you really didn't have a problem with race while you attended school. That being the case, how would you describe your interaction with students of color?
When I was real young, I had black friends. I didn't have a problem with black people. I didn't know there was even a difference in white and black. And then as I got older and I seen things that were happening when I was growing up, and they're in the 90s, the early 90s, even in the late 90s, there was a lot of things that went on that brought out that, hey, there is something different here. There's something different between black and white. So just as much as whites and blacks were alike, we're that much different. And seeing the things that were going on at that time made me realize there's a difference here.
How soon after high school did you join the Marine Corps?
I joined right out of high school.
And what made you decide to enlist?
Fighting for my country. I always wanted to fight for something. That's always what I wanted to do. I always wanted, and the Marines was what I wanted to do. And I just wanted to fight for my country. I love my country. I don't agree with the government. I don't agree with the government at all, but I love my country. You can hate your government, and I despise my government, but I love the United States of America.
And during your, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine, go ahead.
And during your enlistment, were your superiors or fellow Marines aware of your devotion to your Klan practices and principles?
There is a lot of what I would call white supremacy. Now, there's more Nazis, especially in the Marine Corps, that you have gang members in U.S. military services, in the armed forces, you have all different walks of people of life that's in it. I couldn't let people know that I was even anything like that because they would discharge you for that. You couldn't be in the military and have them type of beliefs. You couldn't be in that. You know, I hid a lot of things when I was in that. And I wasn't that much of a believer as a member of the Klan as I am now. And I've been a member of the Klan since I was 18 years old. And I'm 32 now. But you can't be a hardcore white supremacist or a white separatist in any type of military because they don't allow that. You can't be in that. It's the same thing with gang members. You can't be a gang and be in that.
As a U.S. Marine, you served in Iraq.
Yes, I did.
And I presume you may have been forced to take lives while engaged in combat.
I was in Fallujah.
You've made it abundantly clear in previous news reports that you're a Klansman and will remain so until the day you die.
Until the day I die.
Having said that, if you were forced to kill people in Iraq, who were you when you pulled the trigger? Were you a U.S. Marine carrying out an order or protecting fellow Marines? Or were you a Klansman anxiously awaiting an opportunity to kill what many racists refer to as sand niggers?
When you take the oath to join the military, you take the oath to defend the Constitution between anything foreign and domestic. I have to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I was a United States Marine taking my orders and doing what I was told to do by my superiors. That's what I was told. It didn't have nothing to do with race. It didn't have nothing to do with any of that. It had something to do with defending my country, and I was sworn to uphold the Constitution between anything foreign and domestic. That's what I was doing. It didn't have nothing to do with race.
Another thing that I discovered doing my research is that you have some very strong feelings about the Iraq War. Would you care to comment?
I think the Iraq War was the biggest waste of time. I was not a supporter of George Herbert Walker Bush, George W. Bush. I'm not a Bush fan. I think it was the biggest waste of life. I think it was all for nothing. I think it was for oil. I think that a lot of good Americans lost their life, white and black, lost their life fighting that war that could have been prevented. It had nothing to do with 9/11. I disagree with the Iraq War. I think it was stupid, just like the Civil War was fought. It could have been prevented. And I think the Iraq War could have been prevented. I think that was a very stupid war. I think it was all for money and making people rich. I think it was for oil is what it was for.
Malcolm X was also strongly opposed to unjustified U.S. intervention and war. And many would be surprised to learn that you studied the speeches and teachings of the late Muslim leader. What was it about him that led you, a Klansman, to become a lifelong admirer?
Malcolm X, when he first started out, when he went to prison, he got out, he messed with white women. He joined the Nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad, he went with the NOI when he got out of prison. When he left the NOI and he went to Mecca, he seen that he had white brothers, he had black brothers, he had people of all the same race. And he said, well, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to form my own group. I said, I don't agree with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has got all these women pregnant inside of the Nation of Islam. And he says that's not what we're for. He was a believer. He was 100% a believer in what he taught and what he supported. He lived it. And he was killed for what he believed. He was killed for what he believed. And it wasn't about, later on in life, to me now, and it may be different from other people, that it wasn't about white. It wasn't about black. It was about his people, defending his people, getting the rights for his people, and it didn't matter any way he could do it, he would do it later on in life. Now, he got killed for disagreeing with the Nation of Islam, but Malcolm X was not a bad person. He was not a bad person.
So basically it was the stance that he took with regard to opportunities and righteousness towards black people that you most admired about him?
I very much admired Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a very good leader. The things he said, he was articulate. Malcolm X was a very strong leader in his beliefs. And he lost his life for it because he wanted to live the right way. And he got killed for it. But he was a very strong leader.
In 2012, your daughter received her first Klan robe. At what age was she introduced to the Klan, and how was the introduction made?
My daughter, actually, she didn't know much about the Klan before. I'll be totally honest with you. She seen me with robes on when she was real young, and she didn't understand what it was. I actually told her, hey, she didn't know what it was. I didn't explain it to her. Well, she got older in life, and she seen things on TV, and she come to my house because me and my first wife are divorced. This is my oldest daughter. She come to my house, and she said, Daddy, I know what that is you're in now. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, it's the Klan. And I said, what do you think about it? She said, well, I hear people say it's racist. And I said, well, I'm going to let you form your own opinion of it. I said, but don't believe everything you say. Well, she studied. She read some things about it. And she's seen me do it over and over. And I don't say the N-word in my house. I don't say that. I don't use that around my children. I don't use that. I don't agree with that. She wanted a Klan robe. She wanted to be like her daddy. So I got her a Klan robe, and she's been in the Klan.
And how long has she been an active member now?
She's not really, you can't be in the Klan until you're 18 years old. Now, she is in the youth Klan. She can be in the youth Klan, and she doesn't get what I would say she don't get all the teachings that we do. The youth Klan is just like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. They do things. The kids go out and they go fishing. They go, they eat. They go out to Pizza Hut and stuff like that, and they go to arcades and stuff like that. It's mainly like a youth group for children is all it is. They don't get the teachings that we do. It's a way to bring them up and let them get a foothold inside the Klan. That way, when they get old enough to join it, they can join it.
This youth group, is this something that was established within the North Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, or is this something that's nationwide?
This is nationwide. There's always been youth corps in the Klan. There's youth groups in everything. But I'm saying though, the Klan has always had a youth group. It always has been.
Again, you're the leader of the North Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. How does your clavern differ from others across the country?
Every group, you don't have one solid Ku Klux Klan. There's no such thing as the Ku Klux Klan, because the Klan got in a bunch of tax trouble and stuff like that, and they took the name. Actually, the U.S. government owns Ku Klux Klan. They own the name Ku Klux Klan. And that was because of stuff Simmons done and tax purposes. So now you have independent governing groups of the Klan. You have like the North Mississippi White Knights, the Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the North Alabama White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. You're never going to see a group called the Ku Klux Klan. There will never be a group called that.
Given the Klan's extremely violent history and calls by current Klan leaders to take this country back by any means necessary, why should the majority of Americans believe that this New Age Klan isn't like the murderous groups of the past?
Like I tell people, I will never convince people that we're different. You have biker groups that go out here and they do these toys for tots and stuff like that. People have already formed their opinion of the Ku Klux Klan. All I can do is go out here and help my community, help my white brothers and sisters. That's all I can help them do. People have to form their own opinion. Now, there's going to be people that I will never convince that we're any different. That will never happen. But we are different. We're not about violence. We're not about murdering and killing. I say this, and I say this to you, and I've said it on live TV before. I don't agree with murder. I frown upon murder. I don't agree with what they did back in the 60s with the people from the White Knights of Mississippi and Edgar A. killing. I don't agree with that because that hurt more of our movement than it did help it. I don't agree with murder. Now, I say this on TV, and I'll say it now. I don't have no problem. And I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about whites, too, that hurt women, that hurt children. I don't have no problem with tying somebody to a tree and whooping them with a tree limb or something. I don't have no problem with that. But I do not do murder. And the Klan, back in the 60s, they went against white and black. A lot of people don't know that, but it wasn't just the blacks they went after. They went after the child molesters, the women beaters, the white men that wouldn't get up and take care of their family. The Klan went after them, too. It wasn't just about black. It wasn't always about that.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center and a number of published news reports, Ku Klux Klan membership has steadily increased since Barack Obama was elected President of the United States. Do you believe the re-election of President Obama is the primary reason for the growth in membership?
I'll tell you this, that the Southern Poverty Law Center, they are the biggest helper for what we believe. You got some white male out here that wants to join the Klan. All they got to do is go to the hate map and pull up. The Southern Poverty Law Center lists every group, every town where these groups are located, gives the names on the hate map, and all somebody's got to do is go to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is run by Mark Potok and Morris Dees, and pull that up. They help the Klan. They don't believe this, but by them putting out that hate map, they help the Klan. Now, Barack Obama, at first, and I've said this before, when Barack Obama first got elected to office, he promised a lot of things. A lot of people were like, well, okay, let's give this guy a chance. I'm not anti-Barack Obama. I wasn't pro-Bush. And when he first got elected to office, people were like, I'm going to give this a chance. Well, he got reelected. And now people are very upset about it, and now there has been a strong people wanting to join the Ku Klux Klan. I will say that now, but at first, no. But now, oh yes, people are wanting to join the Klan. It's people all over the place, and all over the United States of America. I had people contact me all over the United States of America wanting to join the Klan.
Spoken to a number of people on the issue of race, and many of them, particularly those who were actively involved in the civil rights movement, believe this country is only one lynching away from racial upheaval. They cite the division and turmoil that erupted shortly after the shooting of Trayvon Martin as a prime example of how perilously close we are to the edge. In the ABC news segment played at the beginning of the show, you indicated that a storm was coming and that President Barack Obama would be responsible for initiating it. Is this storm known as the RAHOA? And if so, could you explain exactly what that term means and what you think will happen?
RAHOA is racial holy war. And history always tends to repeat itself. I believe that we are going to see another race war in this country. Not a race war, but another civil war and a civil unrest in this United States of America. It's going to happen. It's the only way that Americans can survive is through racial segregation. I'm not against black people having their own homeland. That's what Malcolm X wanted. There's a lot of people that's in the new Black Panther Party. That's what the Nation of Islam wants. They want blacks to have their own homeland. I believe that the only way that we can prevent this racial holy war is to segregate ourselves. Whites and blacks need to segregate ourselves. But it will happen. And Barack Obama, and I said it before, Barack Obama will start this war. And the reason he will start it because it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen before he gets out of office. It's already, and I'm not saying that he had 100% thing to do with the IRS stuff, but there's no way he's sitting up in an Oval Office and doesn't know what's going on with this IRS stuff. And then you have the stuff with the cell phones going on now. What you're seeing now, if you ever read the Turner Diaries, I would advise you to read the Turner Diaries. Everything in the Turner Diaries is happening now. With the government wanting to take your guns away from you, wanting to intrude on your life. And this is what's happening. In the Turner Diaries, this is what's happening now in this country. It's starting to happen a little bit at a time. It's starting to happen.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Turner Diaries written by William Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
You were also on record as stating that President Obama was going to place white people in concentration camps. I want you to elaborate on that.
This happened in this country before. Now, I'm not saying white people have been in concentration camps, but people of color have been in concentration camps. You have had Japanese Americans that were born in America that were Japanese descent were put in concentration camps. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am. But what leads you to believe that the president is actively engaged in attempts to do this, or planning to do it?
I've heard stories in the past that Barack Obama is starting to make his own civilian army, that he will make his own civilian army. He's going to take over all aspects of the government. All he's got to do is declare martial law. Once he declares martial law, he can do what he wants. I mean, that's just facts. And I strongly believe that Barack Obama will put white people in concentration camps. I believe that not just white people, well, mainly white people, but I believe he'll put anybody that disagrees with him in concentration camps. This country can do what it wants. It's done it years and years. It's done it before. I mean, what's going to keep it from happening now? It's easily attainable. It can happen.
What's the first thing that usually comes to mind when you see a photo or seen in a movie where a black man was burned, castrated, or lynched by the Ku Klux Klan?
I don't agree with murder. I've never agreed with murder. That's wrong. That hurts my heart to see somebody getting killed or murdered. I don't agree with anybody being burned, lynched. I don't care what color, if you're white or black, and if you molested a child, or you murdered or killed somebody, or you're a woman beater. I don't have no problem with that, no. I don't care what color you are, white or black. But I don't, just cause an innocent black person on the street that's getting lynched just because he's fighting for his rights and his beliefs, I don't agree with him getting lynched, no. But, as far as like child molesters and murderers and killers, yeah, they should be lynched and murdered and stuff like that. But not just a black person. I don't agree with that. Now, I will say this, the church bombings and a lot of the blacks that got killed back in the 60s, that could have been prevented by the churches that got burnt. And I know this was one of the men that I know that was in the original White Knights in Mississippi. I'm good friends with him and stuff like that. That the reason that these churches got bombed and stuff back in the 60s was because if they wouldn't have let these COFO leaders and these communists from up north come down here, a church is not supposed to be letting these people come in and get the community riled up and stuff like that. And this is the reason a lot of the churches were blew up. The way I was told by the Klan back in the 60s, the minute that they let these COFO leaders and let these communists come down here and come in their churches, well, that made that not a church anymore. When you see these Klansmen going around burning these churches and bombing these churches back in the 60s, that's not because they didn't see a black church on the corner and blow it up. That's not the way it was. It was because they were letting people come into these churches and stir the community up and using that church for other things than what it was supposed to be for.
You have the floor now. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the public in closing, sir?
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
Okay. My guest has been Stephen Howard, Imperial Grand Wizard of the North Mississippi White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. If you would like to submit a comment regarding this episode, and you want to do so privately, feel free to send me an email at fromthegman@gmail.com. I'm the G-Man, and I thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay cool, stay safe, and stay informed.